Essentialism is so easily the philosophy that shaped who I am as a person at the ripe age of 29. It's directly responsible for me making better financial decisions and live a life more for myself rather than others. So in today's video, I wanted to go over a few more of the ways I've been living as an essentialist and the ways they've been helping me with my day-to-day routines. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and please Ezekiel choke the subscribe button. Let's get started. Selective ignorance. And selective ignorance to me is exactly what it sounds like. It means making the conscious decision to ignore things I don't want in my life. Specifically, irrelevant information or distractions. Things like not trying to pay too much attention to the news and staying off social media are just a couple of the ways I practice selective ignorance. Doing this has resulted in a couple of things, but most notably kept me from ever feeling like I'm missing out on something. I haven't had that feeling that I need to go out and do or buy something in order to keep up with my friends. And it's interesting to see how many of my decisions were subconsciously influenced by just what I was seeing online. The phrase ignorance is bliss is pretty true to an extent, and implementing selective ignorance has definitely proved that to me. Recognize trade-offs. Becoming an essentialist has forced me to be more mindful of the trade-offs that I make with each and every decision. This means when I'm saying yes to anything at all, I'm effectively saying no to something else. Taking on a job means making money, but the trade-off is time. It's just about evaluating what is or isn't worth the trade-off, which will obviously differ for everyone. All this really means is to be a bit more mindful when making choices and just think about what can be missed out on when saying yes or no to something. And there's literally an example from everybody's situation where trade-offs apply. Spending more time to further your career, but sacrificing time with friends or family. If you're in the United States, choosing to pursue higher education requires a high upfront cost and possibly taking on debt, but with the potential reward of a high-paying career. Again, none of these are right or wrong. It's just about what makes the most sense for each one of us, and what sacrifice is worth making for the results we want. Allow boredom to exist. I feel particularly strongly about this one because of how much it's helped me creatively. Sitting without something to do for an extended period, or just generally being bored, was a huge problem for me. I wanted some sort of informational feed constantly just to avoid even a few moments of boredom. Once I learned that so often my best creative ideas and deep thoughts came to me when I'm just laying in bed about to fall asleep, or when I forget to bring my phone to the toilet. I started to just embrace those moments where I can be alone with my thoughts and started to almost force myself to be bored sometimes. And embracing that has allowed me to evaluate my activities and pursuits and just inspired a lot of creative good ideas. By recognizing the emptiness of busyness for its own sake, I can redirect that energy towards meaningful ventures and come up with more creative ideas. Now to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, Henson Shaving. If you've experienced shaving irritation before like I have, I recommend checking out Henson Shaving, who's a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer now making high-quality razors. And their aerospace background has enabled the creation of razors with unmatched precision. Just holding this thing, you can actually feel the quality and durability. It has a clog-free design, which makes clogging virtually impossible. And it's affordable. Once you own a Henson razor, it's only about $3 to $5 a year to replace the blades, which is far, far less than I've been spending on razor blades over the years that I was convinced I just had to spend a lot to replace them. Say no to a subscription and yes to a razor that'll last a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/NicholasG to pick the razor for you and use the code NicholasG, and you'll get 2 years worth of free blades with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to the link in the description box and use code NicholasG. Thanks to Henson Shaving for sponsoring this video. Simplified decision making. One of the very first things I noticed happened to me when embracing essentialism was the beauty of streamlined decision making. Before, I would overanalyze and arguably spend way too much time on things that pretty much didn't matter. Narrowing down my clothes to my favorites, and narrowing my energy to only the important or the essential has just saved me so much time and headache over the years. And a specific way I practice simplifying decision making is just by automating my decisions. Automating every small and often tedious thing from my routine saves me that mental energy it would otherwise cost, which isn't usually a lot, but throughout the day, it adds up. Essentialism decreased my decision fatigue by emphasizing prioritization of critical tasks and objectives. This helped me spend more of that mental energy on things I actually wanted to spend it on, like creating videos, work, and just any of my other hobbies I want to sink my time into. Be more selfish. And this point might sound pretty bad when you just look at it on the surface, but let me explain. Not selfish as in I'm a blatant scumbag who never does anything for anyone else, but more selfish and assertive when it comes to things I don't want to have anything to do with. I think we'd all benefit a little bit from putting ourselves first and saying no to people who insist for us and decide things on our behalf. I'm sure we've all had someone or some sort of obligation in our lives that made us feel like we had to be somewhere or we had to do something. So being more selfish is just another way of saying I'm setting boundaries for myself. Being selfish in terms of setting boundaries means saying no to commitments, activities, or relationships that don't align with my essential goals and values. Once again, I'm aware that on the surface it might make me seem like a jackass, but it's necessary. This vital rule of essentialism has saved me from those situations I just don't want to be involved in ever since I adopted it into my life. The disciplined pursuit of less. Finally, this last point is going to be something that just sort of ties all of the points together. It's a culmination of all the lessons I've learned from essentialism throughout the years, ever since I read the book years ago and started making videos about it. Saying no to and even resigning from things that I was volunteered for when I wanted nothing to do with it. Being more exclusive with my time and efforts. Simplifying my routine and schedules by only prioritizing those most important things. All of those, to me, are the exact definition of the disciplined pursuit of less. Anyways, these are just a few more of the ways I've been living more as an essentialist and the ways they've been affecting my life. I hope some of these stuck out to you, and maybe you can implement some of them into your own routine to see if they help you as much as they've helped me. Over the years, I've talked quite a bit about essentialism, and while I still plan on making references here or there whenever they apply, I think I've said all I have to say when it comes to making dedicated videos. So we'll be moving into a new chapter on this channel where I put new philosophies into practice. Anyways, as always, I appreciate the time you spent here and I appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.